Ask yourself why you play video games. Think on it for a minute and you will get an answer. Maybe you like the social aspect, or the competitive aspect, or maybe you just like to unwind with your favorite game. But pretty much all the answers boil down to one word: experience. An event or occurrence which leaves an impression on someone. Now let me ask you, when's the last time a video game left a serious impression on you? I've spent thousands of hours in games where I couldn't tell you a single specific memory I have from playing them. Games aren't what they used to be, is what I hear people say, but to be fair, too often do we see highly anticipated AAA releases that are unplayable at launch. Loaded with day one DLC, or they're filled with skins and season passes that we don't even need. Although this Optimus Prime emote is f***ing sick.
I've got Riz.
I thought it was fair to say, games aren't what they used to be. And then along comes Crow Country. So let's talk about it. Greetings fellow gamers, welcome to the Dunyan Rings channel where we open amusement parks based on our favourite birds. I'm going to judge this game on several qualities to explain how it reignited my love for playing games, but also so I can give you my rating. Crow Country is a survival horror game developed by SFB Games. It came out on May 9th, 2024 and seems to have been quite well received, with some videos made about it and some big creators playing it. It's a game not unlike Resident Evil, with some very nostalgic 90s PS1 graphics. In it, you play as Mara Forrest, a police detective investigating the recently shut down amusement park Crow Country to find the owner, Edward Crow, who has disappeared. Obviously, being a survival horror, things don't really go to plan, and you find yourself navigating this very scary, abandoned amusement park filled with all manner of creepy little men. Did you hear that? As far as gameplay goes, the core of this game consists of going from place to place, solving puzzles, learning the cause of all the spooky stuff going on, and getting closer and closer to finding Edward Crow. Let me start by saying the puzzles in this game slap. As I said in the intro, I can't really remember the last time I had a unique experience playing a game, and I think it's because I haven't felt like the protagonist in a story for a long time. And after all, that's why we all play games, right? It was nice to just kick back and play a narrative-based game that had me solving puzzles that had a direct relation to beating the game. I don't know, it drew me in. Mechanics-wise, there's nothing too special going on here, besides the weirdly unintuitive combat system, where you hold down the right bumper, aim with the left stick and shoot with X. It does kind of feel like you're fumbling for your gun when the enemies slowly shamble towards you, and if it did have a really quick, snappy aiming function, I don't think the enemies would be that threatening, so I have to assume the devs did it on purpose, which is cool. I've never seen that done before, so that gets a big thumbs up from me. What I like a lot about the game is the sense of progression. Every puzzle you solve gets you a step closer to beating the game, developing the story, or if not, it'll upgrade your weapons or get you some other kind of bonus. And my only complaint here is something we'll have to delve in when we talk about the narrative side of the game. I wanted to say that it is so refreshing to see a game made for the purpose of just being a game. A good game at that. Not trying to steal every moment of my attention, not trying to make me play over and over and over again. The devs here clearly care about the player experience, and regardless of how you feel about the game, I think that is pretty clear. And that sentiment was a big factor in how Crow Country made me love playing games again. To see devs care less about money and more about what their game means to their players is something I just wish I saw a lot more of in the AAA space. As far as storytelling goes, the game really shines. The protagonist is shrouded in as much mystery as everything else, and as you meet other characters and get through their dialogue, you kind of end up learning that the truth isn't what you sort of thought it was at all, and it takes you on a serious ride. I can't recommend it enough on this side of things. The cast of characters are pretty mid, to be totally honest. Everybody just kind of lets Mara do what she needs to do. Doesn't feel like anyone is really a mover and shaker in the plot except for her. But they do their job of delivering information just fine, so I guess it's okay. The writing of the game is obviously fantastic. It kind of has to be if it's going to have a whole mystery to unravel, and there's not much more I can really say on it without spoiling. And the world building is chef's kiss, top notch. Like the idea of setting a survival horror game in an abandoned amusement park, it's a really unique setting, and it does a lot to sort of get the ambience across. And this is another thing that got me in a huge funk with gaming. Like Dragon's Dogma 2, for example, I could forgive it for being broken on launch and being full of in-game purchases if the game was good. And don't get me wrong, it does play well and there's a certain spectacle to the combat, but it's not really good enough. The game is about fighting big monsters, and there's like 6 big monsters. I know people have made this criticism before, but I couldn't tell you the name of any of the NPCs, I couldn't tell you the name of any of the cities or places of interest, and I could sum up the story in like 2 sentences. It's like if someone took Monster Hunter and put it into like a ChatGPT dev system to make it into an RPG. Just go play Monster Hunter, those games slap. But anyway, my main complaint with Crow Country is how short it is. Not short in a good way, where you just want to go right back in and play it again, but short like the last boss felt like the first boss. I actually didn't even realize the bigger, slightly stronger enemies were bosses. I guess they're mini-bosses, but yeah, it's a bit on the short side, which I thought at first was a big criticism, but I'm going to tell you why it's not in just a moment. AAA games today love to boast about their amazing graphics, but who bought Starfield last year and was like, oh, this game looks like shit? Crow Country has this late 90s PS1 aesthetic, which made me feel some kind of special way. The PS1 was the first console I ever started playing, and it felt like I was reliving the Ape Escape days. I really appreciate that they decided to go for this nostalgic aesthetic. Sound design wise, nothing really blew my socks off besides one really incredible track, but as far as the sound effects and the ambience that the sound in the game creates, it all does its job really well, so I can't fault it too much. As far as the value of the game goes, it is a great game and it comes ready to play right out of the box, or right out of the download, I guess, which again, shouldn't really be a big ask, but it feels like it is in today's day and age. But yeah, the game is a little bit short, but like I said, I don't think that's actually a bad thing. The devs have obviously done the release strategy where they put the game on sale for 10%, but they charge the game for 10% more than what they would charge for it because nobody buys games on Steam if they're not on sale. And even with the sale, some might say it's a bit overpriced, but I don't think it is. The always online free-to-play gaming format has kind of destroyed the modern gamer's perspective of how much a game should cost. Like when I was young, I paid full price for Dead Island, I played it through. Dead Island, who remembers that game? Absolute banger, by the way. I played it through, I probably beat it in 20 hours, didn't touch it again for months, but I was so sort of drawn to the world and the game itself, and also the character that I played. You can play the same character every time if you want, even though there's 4. His name's Sam B, he's got his own song. Sam B got the thing that go bump in the night. It's a banger. But I was like, yeah, money well spent. So with that in mind, Crow Country is also money well spent. And spending the money on it and beating it in 6 hours made me go, oh, let me do another run. I'm going to get all the secrets, all the collectibles, try and get a better run. And now I've got that Dead Island time in it, and it was cheaper than Dead Island. So if this was just a couple of years ago, you'd be like, damn, that game was worth it. So after all that, I'm going to give Crow Country a 65% score. And I'm going to call it a 6 out of 10. I know that could be a 7 out of 10 if you're rounding up or down. Are you supposed to round up on 5s? Or is it your choice? I don't know, but I'm giving it a 6 out of 10, 65% score, and if you have to round up on 5s, 64%, whatever. And I know what you're thinking, that's not actually a very good score for how positively I'm talking about the game. And I would say you're right. I mean, it's above average score for an above average game, but the game isn't necessarily special to me. I don't think I'm going to come back to it over and over and over again, but you might. That's why I'm recommending it. How this game really reignited my passion for playing games is that at the end of the day, it was the first time in forever that I had played a game that was lovingly made. You could feel the love in the game, you could feel how much the devs cared about my experience and tried to make it the best game they could, and it's just not something I had experienced in a while. So if you are the kind of gamer that has 1,000+ hours in these kind of games that, might be online, free-to-play games, or just any game, and you're feeling super burned out, the message I'm trying to get across is don't just give up on playing games. Get on Steam, go to the new releases page, give some indie games a go, and have some experiences. Until next time, gamers, peace.